Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. Hello, my beloved friends. Welcome once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. I hope you've been enjoying our videos, and I invite you to look back at all of our catalog, for we have created a great deal of information that's out there for you. It is my pleasure and it is my joy to be able to share Joshua with you in this format. This year, in 2025, we do anticipate getting out and doing some more public speaking. I would like to talk today about authenticity. Authenticity. It's a word that gets thrown around in the spiritual groups a lot. And authenticity, for me, goes beyond honesty. Honesty is important and it's a worthy commitment. But I understand that occasionally our honesty gets sidetracked by our assuming that we know what is best in the situation. And so we tell little white lies because we think we're sparing someone's feelings or we're doing something that actually contributes to the relationship. However, telling lies in general doesn't contribute to the relationship. And yet, it depends upon the status of the relationship. Are you extremely intimate and very close, or are you mildly intimate as friends, or are you just good acquaintances? And so we all adjust our social behavior based on what we assume to be the right thing to do in the moment. What is unfortunate, though, in the spiritual community is that some people start to think that honesty is the best way to be. And so they start to judge other people if they think they're not being honest or telling the truth. And some people go to this extreme, and I've had this experience in my life where this woman told me, I never lie. She said that to my face several times. I never lie. And you know what? She lied to me more than anyone I've ever known. So be cautious around the people who tell you they never lie. Their shadow is humongous, and it's about to bite them in the butt. And I did always find out when she was lying, and it destroyed our close association. It just ruined things for us because she couldn't be honest with herself. She couldn't tell herself the truth. And when caught in bold-faced lies, and I would tell her, you lied to me, she'd go, so what? Like, well, so she couldn't take responsibility even for her own deception. So whenever someone now tells me I never lie, I think, oh, I better be cautious. Be careful here. I also feel the same way when somebody particularly often says something like, trust me, or if they frequently say things like, believe me, because I have come to understand they really don't trust or believe themselves. So let those be alerts to you when you hear people saying, trust me. If they do it a lot, there's a flag there for big shadow. They don't trust themselves, and you should not either. Or if all the time they're saying, I never lie, or believe me. No, they don't believe themselves, and they know they lie. So authenticity is saying, I know I lie. There are times when I tell lies. And if caught in one of my lies, I own it. It's like, yeah, I did that. That was me. I lied because I thought or I assumed that if I told the truth, it would lead to a problem. There would be a bigger emotional reaction. There'd be volatility. So, in my assumption, assuming I know what's best always, I decided to not tell you the truth. So to be authentic, to be real, is to admit occasionally I tell lies, and if I get caught, I own it. I did that. It was me. And I did it because I had my ulterior motive, whatever it was. Maybe I even thought I was covering my own ass. And yet, lies usually are uncovered. You can't keep lies hidden. They become discovered. And so why lie? You're just going to get caught. Anyhow, authenticity also means that I own how I feel, and all of my feelings are valid. So I don't have to be happy all the time. I don't have to be spiritually pious all the time. I don't have to be the one who has all the answers. Or, you see, being honest with yourself, being real and authentic. We own our shadow. And in my shadow, my biggest fear, I'll share with you, my biggest shadow is that I'll be discovered as being ignorant or stupid. Why would I fear that? Oh, because I like to think of myself as smart, but sometimes I know I've done stupid things. I've made some stupid mistakes, and so I find those mistakes to be caused by stupidity. That's my judgment about what happened in the moment. But sometimes I get caught in trusting people who are not trustworthy. Maybe that's why I was talking about the honesty thing so much. Recently, I've gone through some experiences where I hired people to do certain jobs for me and then found out they were not delivering what they had promised to deliver. And I was trusting them because that's my usual pattern. I trust people. You know why? Because I think they're like me. I think people will be honest with me. I'm honest with them. Or if I say I'm going to do something, I follow through. And if I can't follow through, I explain. Here's what came up. Here's the unexpected thing that got in the way of my follow through. And yet these people were just deceiving me to take my money. And it's not like I have a great deal of money, but I had decided to invest some money in growing my audience, and they didn't deliver what they promised. But I trust people, and when I've been burned, I made a mistake. I trusted the wrong people and I lost some money. Then I try my best not to let that influence or affect my trust in people. It just, I inherit, because of Joshua's teachings, he has taught me people are inherently good. People are inherently good and they want to do good and they hope to deliver goodness to others. And yet, some people have decided that making money by lying, cheating, stealing is easier than delivering what they promise. So I want to be aware that there are people out there who are offering services that they really won't ever follow through on. And I need to be more careful about my blind trust. Okay, I blindly trust people, and it's gotten serious in that I lost money that I really could not afford to lose, but it happened. That's the way things go sometimes, and it's a lesson. What did I learn? Oh, all right, that I need to be more authentic. Now, what does that mean? I need to be more real about what I feel, what I think. If I'm hiring someone to do some services and I see some red flags, I need to talk about those before I pay them any money. That was a good lesson, right? Important lesson. And here I am, 69 years old, and just learning another lesson about not just blindly trusting that everyone is intending to do their best. So, authenticity, being real. To be real with people is to admit that I'm not always spiritual. Oh, surprise. And you know what? Joshua doesn't care. Joshua loves me whole being, as a whole being, which means my spirituality cannot be separated from my human nature. Human nature, spiritual nature are the same. And my physical nature cannot be separated from my mental nature and my spiritual nature. So body, mind, and spirit are all integrated, entwined. They cannot be teased apart into separates. And yet, I have a great deal of spiritual training, a lot of spiritual learning, and yet sometimes I'm less than spiritual. So, what does that mean? I catch myself occasionally. I pay attention to my content of my thoughts and find myself judging someone harshly and not offering love, not sending kindness to them. And this division in behavior, around our society is something that can be challenging for us to grasp, to absolutely get our hands around and say, I understand that your values and mine do not align, and it is unrealistic to expect that your values will align with mine because your beliefs do not permit you to even hear my thoughts or to listen to me. You assume you know who I am and what I mean and what I'm doing. That's assumption, yes, that we talked about in a different video. So be real to the best of your ability. When you're having a bad day, go ahead and express it. And yet, you need to pick and choose carefully when you share your soft underbelly, and we all have one. When you share your vulnerability, you want to be in the right environment. You don't want to, unless you know your boss, let's say, or your manager very, very well, and you have kind of a semi-intimate relationship. You don't want to go to your boss and say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day." And I just barked at somebody on the phone, or I just told off one of the engineers. you know, you don't want to go confess that you're having a bad day. However, that's the truth. That would be authentic to go to the boss and say, "Wow, I got really triggered by that engineer and I blew off at him and put him in his place," or so I thought. I probably just made an enemy out of someone I need to work with. That is life, and we learn our lessons as we go along. So obviously, I'm making a reference back to when I worked in the corporate environment. But you pick and choose those moments when you choose to be vulnerable. And I learned that actually in therapy. Oh, you've been to therapy? Now, will people make assumptions about that? What will you think of me? Will you think less of me? I don't care. I'm just being real. I'm being authentic. I have spent time in therapy and it was good for me. It is what I needed and it helped. It didn't solve everything. It didn't fix me because you know what? Joshua told me I'm not broken. You know, I just have some habits and behaviors I need to change. And I'm not broken. So I have learned that I can change my behavior. And what I learned in therapy about vulnerability was really important to me because there are parts of myself that I keep very private and I'm on the brink of talking about them publicly. However, at that time, that therapist reminded me You choose. You choose when you want to tell your story. It's no one else's choice for you. And it doesn't make you less than authentic that you're holding back some of your story. Being authentic takes courage. So you choose when to feel, when to be vulnerable, when to expose your hidden soft underbelly. We all have something we want to protect, and you choose. So it's not being inauthentic if in a situation you choose to withhold some of your whole story. It takes that courage to step out there and say, this is who I am, and what you think of me is not as important as what I think of myself. Because what I think of myself creates my entire reality. And what you think of me cannot affect my reality unless I let it do that. So being authentic takes self awareness. You can't be real with others if you haven't been real with yourself. If you haven't been brutally honest with self, there is no way that you can be authentic with others. You don't know yourself. So how can you be yourself with others? So I'd like to encourage you to be totally honest with yourself. Own all those parts of yourself that you might judge to be less than ideal. You know, as a spiritual teacher, here I was sitting here telling you, I'm not always spiritual. Right? I can be very human. I am totally human. I am a whole human being. And I understand that now. Joshua has taught me wholeness means stop being fake to yourself. Wholeness means owning all the parts of self, the parts that are less than what I would want to be in the world. That is the shadow. I do think it is time for me to record a video talking about how to do your shadow work. I have often mentioned shadow, and I have often said, be careful, be cautious that shadow doesn't get you. So I want to dedicate a future video to that topic, and I promise you I'll do that. So I'll conclude my comments right now and let Joshua talk to you. How about that? Hello, beloved one. Isn't this an interesting topic where Jordan has exposed to you his whole self without speaking of parts of his life, part of his life story that he keeps very private? And this private behavior has actually created obstacles and stumbling blocks in his progress toward his mission. And his mission is to share the teachings of Joshua far and wide. And yet, he used to speak to groups and address people in person rather than through video. And now he has been isolated and pulled back from public address. So we want to inspire and encourage him to get out there, be yourself, and those who love you are part of your tribe, and those who don't are not, and let them go. They will be on their way and find their own teachers. They will find the ones that are perfect for them. Yes? And you find the teachers that are right for you as well. I want to say that being real with yourself, being totally genuine in your whole self, is the pathway to inner peace, inner calm, that ability to resolve conflict within in a way that is collaborative, cooperative, and has the best good of the whole in mind. Being whole means owning the parts you have shoved into shadow. Well, you shove them into shadow for a reason, yes, because there are parts of the self that you wish weren't there. And we will do, as Jordan has committed, a video presentation about how to work with your shadow. All I will tell you right now is just start owning all the parts of yourself, even the parts you think are not pretty. All right, then. I love you all, and I love you just as you are. Open up. Be real. Be genuine. Authenticity. Yes. Authenticity exceeds being honest. It is a feeling at all the barriers between self and others can be safely removed without fear. You see, it is fear that causes barriers between others, yourself and others. Fear. So learning to manage fear is also a large part of owning shadow. I love you all, and I will be on my way. I bid you good day. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.